What's up, Colts fans? What is going on? What a game. What a win for Indianapolis. Are we pumped or what? 29-28 victory for the Colts. Big time win. Loving it, loving it, loving it. So excited, so pumped. The Colts are 2-0. And to start this off, I will show you who gets the game ball. Jonathan Taylor, boom, switching jerseys. This is the game ball for you, my man. Let's go. You earned it. 25 carries, 165 yards. The longest one was 68 yards. And he had 2 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. Beautiful touchdown. Amazing stuff. So, Colts tearing it up, living it up, beating the Broncos. But, man, so the game ball first goes to Jonathan Taylor. He is the player of the game. But what else? What else can we say? Daniel Jones, the runner-up. He could have easily won the game ball. 23 for 34, 316 yards, 1 touchdown through the air to Jonathan Taylor. And then 2 rushing touchdowns. One rushing touchdown. My bad. Only one. My bad. But geez, he's doing everything. He's doing everything. 68% completion percentage. He's awesome. He's playing great. Way better than expected. This is just phenomenal stuff for the Colts. They beat the Denver Broncos. They crushed the Dolphins last week, but we're going to focus on the Dolphins. We're going to focus on the Broncos right here. So, Jonathan Taylor game ball. Daniel Jones, amazing. But the beast, the rookie, Tyler Warren doing everything. 4 catches, 79 yards. He had 7 for 76 last week. 4 for 79 today. Does it all. Still didn't get in the end zone yet through 2 weeks, but he will. This rookie is open all the time. He's doing all the right things, making plays. He got stuffed on a 4th and 1 when they had Warren on the right side and Taylor on the left, so we didn't get that first down. So that was a turnover on downs, but he is doing awesome. Pierce had a great game, 4 for 68. Very shocked that Daniel Jones was actually throwing the ball deep down the field. That's why his completion percentage was only 68. He's taking shots deep. I like the aggressiveness of Daniel Jones. That's amazing. Amazing. Because he's a lot of short stuff, middle stuff, and everything like that. So for him to take shots, I like it. Josh Downs got more involved. He had 2 for 12 last week. Got 6 for 51 today. That was beautiful. Got a few first downs. Pittman made some clutch catches. He was covered by Surtain, but 4 for 40. So they were able to feed him the ball. He was able to beat Surtain for a first down. And Pierce beat Surtain late for a first down at the end of the game, which was huge to set them up for a game-winning field goal. Mo Ali Cox, of course, he's the second tight end. He's going to be the run blocker. 1 catch for 8. Adonai Mitchell, 2 for 20. Getting a couple things. I like this guy. But, yeah. Cross doing great stuff. We're leading the Colts in tackles with 5 tackles. So, Cross, awesome. They took him early a few years ago in the 3rd round, and he was like redshirted that year. So now he's coming to his own last year into this year, looking great. All right. So those are all the good things I like about the Colts. Their offense looking good, but their defense had no pressure on Bo Nix. No pressure whatsoever. Horrendous. They didn't have Latu. Latu was out, so they were missing him. They were missing Ward, and they were missing Jalen Jones, the backup. So their secondary was so depleted. It was horrible. But the defensive line, no pressure on Nix. Couldn't pressure him on. They needed to blitz him. Nothing. So they couldn't force Nix to make any mistakes. It was horrible. Nothing. He was 22 for 30. 206 yards. Not a lot of passing yards, but 206 yards, but 3 touchdown passes. 3. He got one to Franklin. He got one to Mims early. Toasted the secondary. And Troutman got a touchdown on blown coverage. That was horrible for the defense. But yeah, Troy Franklin, 8 for 89. The Colts couldn't stop him. They had no answer. But outside of Troy Franklin, there was 2 catches by Mims, 2 for Bidet, 2 for Pat Bryant, the rookie. R.J. Harvey had 1 for 16. Engram only 1 for 12. He was questionable. He played. Disappointment by Evan Engram, which is a huge plus for the Colts. Troutman 3 for 10, the touchdown. Dobbins had 1 for 9. Sutton, the Colts shut down Sutton. Cortland Sutton, 1 catch, 6 yards. But the main guy was Franklin. So Franklin was huge for the Broncos. But Sutton, 1 for 6. If I said to you, Sutton's going to have 1 catch for 6 yards, are the Colts going to win? Yes. 1 catch for 6 yards? Yes, they have to win. But it was close. It was close. Sherfield had 1 for 3. But going back to Bo Nix, there was no pressure. He couldn't make mistakes. High completion percentage. He was just dominating. The short stuff, intermediate stuff, making plays with his legs, on-target throws, dicing the Colts defense. It was dangerous. Back and forth game. Colts were hanging in there, and it was rough. But what happened at the end, the amazing part of the end, people, is in the fourth quarter, the Broncos are up by 5, okay? The Colts are by the Broncos are by 5. They're driving down the field. They're inside like the 30-yard line, and Bo Nix, they get a little pressure on him. He overthrows his man, and it's intercepted by Bynum. Bynum with the second interception last week, a diving interception on the bad throw by Nix. So Bo Nix played a perfect game, smiling all day, all game. Huge smile on his face. It was bothering me all game. I wanted to, he was just Cheshire Cat. And I was like, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Smiling, smiling, smiling. Oh, man, you drive me crazy. Drive me freaking crazy. And then he throws an interception at the end. Colts get it. And, man, they work down the field. And they get into field goal. Well, they don't get into field goal range. So this is another part that pisses me off with the Colts. So there's less than 2 minutes. The Colts drive down the field. They're down by 2. So they're down by 2. They're running out of time. They're using their timeouts, and they're being super conservative. They're being aggressive all day, throwing the ball with Daniel Jones, letting it rip, completions, beautiful, over 300 yards, pounding it with Jonathan Taylor. They went for 2 fourth downs. They got stuffed on both of them, and they're driving down the field. They're about the 42-yard line with like no time, with like 45 seconds left, and they let the clock wind down, and then they run a play and get to the 41, and that's all they have. And then they got to kick a 60-yard field goal because they lost the yard on that run. So they went super conservative at the end of the game. Super conservative. It doesn't make any sense. They needed to get more yards. Schrader was perfect on the day. Like, that's okay, but you don't want a 60-yard field goal. You got to make it 45 yards. It's insane. I was losing my mind. I'm like, they're gonna have to go for a game-winning field goal of 60 yards, and they had a whole minute to get more yards. I think they just wanted to not have any time on the clock for the Broncos, just in case. But there was a huge blunder at the end. They were forced to kick a 60-yard field goal, 60 yards, and Schrader goes and kicks it, and it's wide right and just a little bit short. And I'm so mad. I'm losing my mind because they have to pass the ball. They have to get closer. You don't want a 60-yard field goal. It's so dumb. So dumb. If they lose that game, that's on Steichen for the terrible play calling those last 3 plays. They had a great offensive play calling all game long, even when they didn't get those 2 first downs on 4th down. You got to credit the Broncos defense for stuffing Warren. And then that one pass he wanted to go up to Taylor on the little wheel route, but he was covered. The linebacker got him, so Jones had to go to his second read, Warren over the middle, and it was just off the mark, incomplete. That was because the Broncos had amazing defense, and they stuffed him. I like him going aggressive, but it didn't work out. And then he went conservative at the end, and it didn't work out until they missed the field goal, and there's a flag on the play because the Broncos jumped over the center and made contact with the center for a 15-yard penalty to bring them 15 yards closer for a 45-yard field goal, and Schrader nails that one, and the Colts win at the buzzer. That's how it ended. What a flipping crazy ending. Crazy ending. The field goal to win because of the penalty. But that's what happened. Those are the things I like. Now let's go to the things that bothered me throughout the game. So what bothered me? The beginning of the game. The Broncos, the referees there was a couple pass interference that could have went either way, and they didn't call it on the Broncos defense. They let them rough them up. Colts had to settle for a field goal. Another time, there was another pass interference in the end zone, and no call. Like, they're 50-50, can go either way, and they both went the Broncos' way. Colts had to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns. And that bothered me. That made me mad. Then there was a bunch of other penalties. Both teams were undisciplined with the penalties, so that they got to go look at. They got to clean things up with holdings, pass interference, defensive holding, all that stuff. Both teams got to fix that. That was rough. Too many flags on the day. It was brutal. But so those penalties on the that weren't called against the Broncos, and then at the end it caught up to them and it bit him in the butt with the penalty on the center, and the Colts were able to get a second chance at the field goal and crushed it, nailed it, and the Colts win. Go to 2-0, knocking the Broncos down to 1-1. 1-1. But the low parts of the Colts, because there's so many high things, but the rough stuff against Bo Nix, they couldn't stop them because of the depleted secondary, but they came through in the clutch at the end of the game with the interception. Bynum saves the day, and then Schrader saves the day with a long field goal. But I'm not worried about the secondary because of the injuries in the defensive line with no Latu. Once they get back and they're healthy, I think this team's going to be a lot better. But I love what I see with Daniel Jones playing way above his pay grade and leading the team to victory, being a great game manager, making amazing throws, and leading this team. And then when you have Jonathan Taylor running for so many yards, it's great. So I think the defense will bounce back, and it'll be closer to what you saw against the Dolphins last week instead of what you saw today against the Broncos. Because Bo Nix is really good, but he only had 206 yards passing. But they were missing key starters, 2 key starters, no pressure, and they abused the secondary. They got Mims deep early for a touchdown because Sean Payton knows how to go and work the weak spots of the Colts defense, and he did a great job, had a great game plan. It just wasn't enough at the end because of that crazy penalty. So, Pierce played pretty well. Let's see, what am I missing? Back and forth game. They got stuffed twice on 4th down, which was a disaster. So they got to get the 4th down short yardage game going. That's a weak spot. The secondary is a weak spot this game, but they'll be better. But the penalties. The Colts got to get better on the penalties. Number 79, Rahman. He's killing me. He had back-to-back holding penalties. It was either the end of the 3rd quarter or the beginning of the 4th quarter. So that was rough. Also, the run defense couldn't stop Dobbins. Dobbins had 14 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. Couldn't stop Dobbins. He was just pounding it. 5.4 yards a carry. Nix, when they got pressure on him, he ran up the middle and got a 1st down. So I thought the Colts were going to get a sack, and he still got through. Huge disappointment for the Broncos. Harvey had 5 rushes for 8 yards. I thought Harvey would be taking over instead of Dobbins quite soon, but he's not ready yet, apparently. But Day played better than Harvey. Harvey's actually returning kicks, which is kind of shocking. But the Colts, the highlight of the defense is that interception and stopping Sutton. But they had no answer for Franklin. So I guess they were just going to Franklin because the weaker cornerback was on Franklin. I mean, Howard didn't have a good day. He got a few penalties in the end zone that extended drives to the Broncos, and they got touchdowns when the Colts were only getting field goals. But man, the first 10 possessions of the Colts, they scored points on the first 10 possessions of the year. So they scored on all the possessions last week and the first 3 this week. And then they finally got stuffed on 4th down, and that ended. But still, this offense is rolling. It's booming. And Daniel Jones, the captain. Captain Jones. Captain Indiana Jones. Helping these Colts rise up in the power rankings. Where do you guys have the Colts going? Power rankings out of the top 32 teams. What do you guys think? Because Dr. DeLay, my co-host for tomorrow morning, he had them at 30 to start the season. Where did I have them? I had them at like 22 or 23. So I'm going to say 23-ish. And I'll double check that, but I had them at 23. But these guys are shooting up the charts. They beat a Broncos team that made the playoffs last year. And the Dolphins, they almost beat the Patriots. It was back and forth, but the Patriots held on to win. So the Dolphins did go to 0-2, but they played a lot better than they did against the Colts. So pretty crazy. So Warren rising on up for the Colts. Pittman's going to do all his thing. Daniel Jones is going to get to Pittman more next week, I'm sure. But with Pittman and Warren over the middle. And now that they got Downs roaming around, getting him in motion, giving him a head start, that could be dangerous. Oh, Jones, his one bad pass. Early in the game, he overthrew Downs in the back of the end zone. That could have been a touchdown, and that was the one bad pass by Daniel Jones. Otherwise, his accuracy is pretty on point. He's doing the right things. I love it. Love it. I never would have thought I would say I love watching Daniel Jones right now, but he's doing great. He's doing awesome. But the other thing is, I thought with Jonathan Taylor, they rested him in the middle of the third quarter last week. They couldn't rest him this time, and he dominated, and he almost had a touchdown. And Hufanga, the safety of the Broncos, went and saved the touchdown, getting him out of bounds at the 12, and the Colts had to settle for a field goal instead of getting that touchdown. And then they were down by 5, the Colts. So they brought him really, really close, but they brought him down by 2. I forget which one that was. Let me see. No, that made it 28-25, so that brought him within 2. They didn't get a touchdown to take the lead. So, yeah, that Hufanga almost had a game-saving tackle. It pretty much was. But the Colts were able to get that win at the end. Whew. Man, oh man. But I love Pierce beating on a drag route. He beat Sutton for a first down to get the Colts even closer. So, big-time game, big-time Colts win. Those are the highs and lows. The game ball to Jonathan Taylor. Daniel Jones doing amazing. Tyler Warren, loving this kid. I got to buy his jersey. I got to buy not Daniel Jones. I have the Giants jersey of him. I got to get a Tyler Warren jersey. This is great things. This is a well-rounded team. Once they get Latu back and Ward back, watch out, man. Watch out. And the Colts have the Titans next week. We're coming for you, Tennessee. They almost beat the Broncos. The Broncos and the Titans couldn't do anything. So, Colts going to Tennessee. I'm not sure if it's in Tennessee or in Indianapolis, but they should be able to crush the Titans because they're 0-2. They laid an egg. They're crumbling hardcore. Colts going to go to 3-0. They're smashing the Titans next week. This is a great start. Loving it. Go Colts. Go Blue. So much to be excited for. But it was almost devastating. We were one field goal away from seeing the insane mad Rhino. You guys were so close to seeing that. So, let's see. You guys saying top 15 for sure. 11-12 is Hawkins. Yeah, they got to be up there. They're a playoff team. They're playing like a playoff team. And they got a couple injuries early, so they got to get these guys back. Easy win. Easy win. Thanks, Hawkins, Steve, and Susan. What up, Small? Showing up and showing out. RC. Who else joined in? Gaming Boy, Giants fan. You guys are awesome. Shout out to you guys. 42 set hike. Beautiful. Steve. Man, I am so pumped. I'm so excited. The Colts on top of the division. Now we just need the Texans to lose tomorrow. Colts going after the Titans next week. Let's go. Give it up for the Colts. You guys are loving it. We're going to do this every week. Sunday night, 9:30 Mountain Time, 11:30 on the East Coast. And you're going to see more Happy Rhino next week with the Colts rising to the top, going to 3-0. They're going to take the division. They're going to take the league by storm. Daniel Jones, comeback player of the year. It's only week 2. It's just the beginning. Let's go Colts. For the shoe!